Thanks so much for being here this morning. I am Eric Ozempa, the Executive Director of the Longmont Community Foundation. And today we celebrate your efforts in giving out $233,000 to the community. So thank you so much for everything you do. We do this in partnership with our donor-advised fund holders who are very generous and decide to give a significant portion of their funds at this time as well. Last year, with their help, we actually granted out overall $700,000 in the community, and we hope to do that or do even more this year. So thank them for us on our behalf, and if you're seated with somebody who is involved with the Community Foundation, please express your gratitude and thanks to them. As with any program, of course, we have some announcements and people to thank. These include our donors, our sponsors, our volunteers, our business partners, and support of the foundation is made possible by them. Now, I sound like I work for PBS when I say that, and I used to, so. Silver and bronze partners include Burden Incorporated, Constant Contact, High Plains Bank, Longmont Downtown Development Authority, Longmont United Hospital, Merrill Lynch, Wealth Management, True North Insurance and Financial Strategies, Mountain View Orthodontics, and to our gold partners, they include First Bank, First Western Trust, Golden Triangle Construction, Guarantee Bank and Trust, Main Street Investments, and U.S. Bank. And then finally, our platinum partners, they include Seagate and Colorado State Bank. Would you please help me in appreciating them for this morning? I also want to take a moment of time to thank Vance and the staff at the Plaza, and they've done a terrific job in getting the breakfast set up, and they've been a wonderful people to work with too as well. I also want to thank Debbie Adams for her excellent photography. She actually just did photos of all the Board of Trustees for the foundation, did an excellent job, and she's here today to capture your images as well. And then finally, T.G. Lewis is here. He's our residential videographer in the back, and he will be taking a film that we will post later or make available to you all. So, and then we also have some dignitaries here in the crowd. I want to welcome City Manager Harold Dominguez in the back. And then Mayor Dennis Coombs is here as well. And then also we have Councilmember Brian Bagley too as well. Thank you so much for joining us. I also want to thank the hardworking grants committee this year. They actually reviewed well over 100 proposals, and they do take their time and visit with each and every one of the organizations, come back and make a final report to the grants committee, spend a number of hours meeting and rehashing and hashing and debating and such, and it's really a fun time, and I think they really enjoy it. At least they tell me they do to my face, but I'm not sure what they say. No, I'm kidding. But these members include Dale Bernard, Linda Drake Bittner, and if you want to stand too and be recognized, that would be wonderful. So Dale Bernard, Linda Drake Bittner, Mary Blue, Mika Delgado, Drew Deppler, Virginia Dutkin, Aaron Elder, Matt Gore, Cameron Grant, Lauren Greenfield, Dave Maruziak, it's a long list, Matt McKinney, Eliberto Mendoza, Kathleen Norris, Tony Pickett, Ann Shai, Susan Shirley, Jake Van Kessel, and Katie Weiser. Thank you so much for your efforts. So then finally, as always, I want to thank you, the nonprofits and the organizations that do so much to support our community. You are the ones really, the reason why we exist is really to help you in your efforts. I mean, I like to say that the Longmont Community Foundation, I think we do a lot for the community, but frankly speaking, I have a great job, I have a fantastic job, and I don't have I can't conceive of some of the things that you have to deal with each and every day with some of your clients and some of the people you deal with. I mean, it really is difficult for you, and so I appreciate everything that you do for the community, everything you do for your clients, everything you do for everybody in our community to make it a wonderful place. So thank you so much. So as someone who grew up in Longmont, I take great pride in our community and have defended our community as a great place to live, raise a family, and be safe. Recent events make us doubt our town and its residents. However, I know, as do you, of this town's positive attributes and know that we will heal just as we have before. We saw our compassion demonstrated in 2013 with the devastating effects of the flood and the subsequent outpouring of support and assistance that continues even today. I believe in the future of Longmont. We have much to be proud of. We can't discount the issues that face us, be they related to mental health, human services, education, environment, all of those key things. But I do know that each and every one in this room cares about Longmont. We will help in any crisis. We will come to the aid of those in trouble and need. It's our caring, really, that's at the center of what makes this community great. That's why I'm proud to call Longmont home. Home. Wow, that was good. I call it home, not Anyway, it's the friendliness and community that is the spirit of Longmont, or the soul of Longmont, SOL, that's what I really like to see in Longmont. It is the soul. It is the deeper aspect of Longmont that makes it such a wonderful place. It's evident in our donor partners and in the residents of Longmont. You all have some part in making Longmont a great community. Before becoming the executive director of the Longmont Community Foundation, I worked in Denver, but I slept in Longmont, which is to say I really didn't know too much about the community at all. Granted, I'd gone to high school here, I'd gone to middle school here, back then it was called junior high. I'd done many things, but I can't honestly tell you that I knew as many people as I do now, nor was I as involved in the community as I feel like I am now. Sure, I had new friends from Longmont High School and my University of Colorado days in Boulder, but I really didn't immerse myself into my neighborhood and my community until something happened. I had kids. And they went to elementary school. And there I met Carla Hale. She was actually a former classmate of mine from Longmont High School. And she was working for Jerry Gramlich over at Meals on Wheels, and she was heavily involved in our PTO. And to me, that was one of the things that was really a turning point in my life, was getting involved in the PTO and actually doing something. Granted, I wasn't becoming the chair of the PTO. I wasn't doing everything every third Thursday, but my wife and I became involved in the school. And that's where we really started our involvement in the community and in civic engagement. And actually, there's some studies that suggest that actually that's where it does begin, is just a volunteer. You can go out and plant a tree, you can go out and rake leaves for your neighbor, you can do something. But that leads to more involvement, civic engagement, voting, all those sorts of things. So I'd encourage everybody in this room to get involved in some way or another to improve our community. It was through Carla's friendly overture that we became involved and stayed involved. It's through seeing my kids in school that I knew how important it is to create a strong community. Let's keep getting to know our neighbors. Let's get involved. Let's continue to look out for one another. Allow me, I know you probably want me to wax on and wane about my kids and such and my philosophy of life, but I do have to get back to the issue at hand about the Community Foundation. But one last final thought is that without the you in community, it's just community. So let's stay involved. No, I mean this from the heart, really do, is that we should stay involved in the community. Because Longmont, again, survey after survey after survey, Harold can tell you this, it's friendly, it's community. The way we keep that in touch is that we know our neighbors and we get in touch with people, each and every one of us, so please do that. Okay, so we have this wonderful chart which you probably can't read way in the back, but essentially it shows that in 2009 we launched our effort to grow the foundation. We doubled our assets. What began as a $3.9 million foundation is close to a $9 million foundation today. But I appreciate the applause, but I will tell you that that is one measuring stick of a foundation. And in fact, when foundations meet, that's usually the first thing we say. It's kind of like when you're in school and you ask, what's your major, to the person you're trying to meet. But basically, that's important that we have a lot of assets, or that we keep growing those assets, but what's more important is what we're doing with those assets. So let's grant them out in the community, and so that's why we have a charge to actually grant out $1 million per year, which Roy White, our board chair, will also explain a little later. In 2012, we moved out of Guarantee Bank, and in 2014, we lowered our fees across the board to our donors, and we also separated from the Denver Foundation. I also want to point out on the bottom, our operating expenses in 2013 were $242,000, and I'm proud to say that we actually lowered those this year, $219,000. projected operating expenses, which to me, if you can lower expenses and do more, that's a good thing, right, Brian Bagley? No, I'm kidding. Finally, I will tell you that of all the things I'm probably the most proud of, I mean, that includes, I am not including the staff, of course. I'm incredibly proud of our staff. I'm incredibly proud of the board of directors. But I have to say, personally, it's the simple things. Marjorie Weibel and I talk about the simple things all the time in our office. This little IKEA shelf has made my day. I went out there and bought this shelf, and I assembled it, and we used to have this third office, and it was just cluttered, and it was annoying. And so now it's organized. And then Marjorie and I, we used to share one little roll of tape. And so for me, I went out and bought 3. And I'm sorry, Dale Bernard, our board treasurer, I'll have to explain that on our financials. But I'm being facetious, of course. But in regards to this, it is the simple things in life, and I'm very proud and honored to work with such a great staff person, Marjorie Weibel, for the past 5 years. She has handled the scholarships with a professionalism and an ability that is just unmatched. So she does a terrific job for the Community Foundation. And in April of last year, we didn't do this. Actually, a gentleman, a kid, as I call him, Taylor came to me, 20-something. Anybody who's 20-something, if you're 50, it's kind of a kid. Kid comes to me and says, hey, I'd like to get my friends together and launch this really cool thing called Quarter Fund, and where we get a group of people together and we make grants to support nonprofit organizations. Kind of getting involved in the community, kind of one of those things that we talked about. Well, I was fortunate and pleased to meet with Taylor, and I want him to come on up here right now and tell you a little bit more about the Quarter Fund. Taylor.
All right, so thanks, Eric, for that introduction. As you mentioned, my name is Taylor Epskamp, and I'm the founding member of the Quarter Fund, a group that engages young professionals in philanthropy. All right, so who are we anyways? Right now we're about 18 members, and we have a diverse set of backgrounds. This here is someone you probably know, Matt Zavala. He's a firefighter at Boulder, and that's just one of the cool board members we have. This is Peyton. You've probably seen him around town doing some videography. He documented the recent flooding. And we have members from Louisville, Longmont, Boulder, and even all the way from Denver. We also have members at different stages in their lives. And last but not least, of course, we have Eric Hozempa, who has been instrumental in the founding of this group. He also has helped us pick up our first round of beers. So, thanks. This is a photo taken during our first grant meeting. As you can see, we only had about 9 members. This was last April, and since then we've added about 9 more members. And for this upcoming year, we hope to add an additional 10, putting us at around 30. So what do we do at these grant meetings besides checking out breweries and having a beer? We actually solicit proposals from nonprofits that align with our quarterly mission. Our first mission was basic needs. Right now, we're working on homelessness. And when we put out a request, we've been really pleased with the response. We get around 10 to 15 proposals. We then take a look at those and winnow them down to our very favorites and hold a vote. And once we're feeling good about that, we award $500 as well as decide what our next quarterly mission is going to be. All right, so one thing that we're really excited about right now is our shift away from paper-based clips to video clips. We feel that this allows us to get a better sense of these organizations' personalities, and it's just kind of a lot more fun than looking at the paper. So yeah, that's kind of how that looks. And then, all right, so beyond these meetings, we've also taken out time to volunteer at the organizations that align with our quarterly missions. This was taken at Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. We got to hang out with their raccoons while building new homes for their squirrels. This was taken at the Mountain Flower Goat Dairy. We helped fund their cheese cave and also got to taste some of the goat milk and meet the llamas that protect their goat herd from coyotes. Most recently, though, we cooked a meal for over almost 200 people here in Longmont at the Hour Center. That whole process involved shopping, cooking, and cleaning, and was a full day, but a lot of fun. And so, what is the net impact of this group? We know that giving out $2,000 a year and volunteering at organizations isn't going to drastically change the community, but we are hoping to create a change within ourselves. Most of our members have only given in increments of $10 or $20 and have never heard of a community foundation before. So it's our hope that when they reach the age of 30 or 40 and find that they have more of a capacity to give, they'll have been inspired by some of the missions that they were exposed to in their 20s and will realize how simple and rewarding it can be to support the nonprofit community. So thanks for taking the time to learn about our group. If you know of 20-somethings that you think would be a great fit, feel free to reach out to myself or Eric, and I have business cards to hand out. So thanks again.
Really enjoy working with Quarter Fund. It's a great, again, a great way to be inspired by the younger generation. I know people get concerned about the younger generation and worry about it. I don't think we have anything to worry. If the Quarter Fund is indicative of what the next generation holds, as well as some of our scholarships, the students that we get through the scholarship program just astound me. I mean, some of the things that they think about doing and some of the things they've already done just blow my mind. In fact, I wasn't really thinking about being philanthropic when I was in college, or soon thereout. But yeah, but they just do amazing work. I wish this picture was a little bit better. I will tell you that in September of 2014, we lost a tremendous friend, Stu Golden. And Stu was not only one of our founders, but he touched many other organizations in so many ways, and was really just an amazing cornerstone of the community. And I always enjoyed Stu's dry wit. When you asked him how he was, he'd say about 5'8". And as somebody who's 5'7.5", I always appreciated the fact that, you know, really a lot of our donors are tall. It's it's really sad. I mean, I feel like I'm in the land of the giants half the time. And when you have Marcus McCarty as our board chair, and now we got Roy White, who's probably about 7 foot, and running to Dallas Powell and other people, it's really kind of sad. But anyway, what I loved about Stu was his dry wit and kind nature too as well. And the fact is that when I came to the Longmont Community Foundation, as I said, I really didn't know a soul. And I am amazed that I called Stu and Sharon and said, will you meet with me for breakfast? I just want to talk to you about the Community Foundation, see how I can help you, and that sort of thing. And they were just so kind to not only return the call, but also have breakfast, which would become one of several over Stu's lifetime and in the little time that I knew him. But it was just amazing. And that, to me, is amazing about Longmont, too, as well, as the fact that you have some people that maybe shouldn't even, I think they've done so much in their lives that maybe they shouldn't give you the time of day, but they do, because that's the way Longmont is, and it just is astounding to me. So upon his passing, his wife Sharon and their children created the Stuart Golden Music Scholarship Fund. This scholarship fund is in line with Stu's passion music, be it vocal, organ, or piano. He was a great organist. It was great to hear him play. His legacy is to pass on a scholarship to a student studying voice, organ, or piano. The scholarship committee recently selected a student to carry out Stu's love of music, the start of yet another person being influenced by his gift and his gifts. So I truly miss Stu, and I look forward to more breakfast with Sharon, but they are just terrific people, and just wanted to say thanks so much for their involvement in the Longmont Community Foundation. So as we look forward to adaptation, focus, and rethinking of what we do. And this has been at the core of a community foundation, or at least my vision of a community foundation, is that we not only need to service the donors that we have, but we need to think of new ways to attract new people to the community foundation. So one of the examples we have recently is Fresca Foods and GTC, Golden Triangle Construction, Fresca came to us about 6 months ago and says, gosh, we want to reward our employees for their volunteer work, but we'd also like to do it through a charitable fund through the Community Foundation. So what they are indeed doing is they're rewarding their employees for going out and volunteering, and they will contribute to the fund at the Longmont Community Foundation, and then employees will have a say in where those funds are distributed. It's a great way for them to reward people for going out and actually going out and getting involved, and it's fantastic. And now, just recently, GTC is going to take on a similar program too as well, and we're very happy with that too. And it's something that we think we can build on, that we can have other businesses get involved this way to not only reward their employees for doing great work, but giving back to the community. Then we also have 139 funds. Many of those are donor advised funds, many of those are scholarship funds. We got 3 new scholarship funds this year, doing great work in the community. The Salud Family Health Centers Fund is an endowed fund, an agency endowment that is just recently started. And then I mentioned the other 2. A new one, this is an interesting vision that Scott Converse at Tinkermill and I had, and it's called the Longmont Entrepreneurial Fund. It's really kind of a new microfund, or a new way of looking at a microfund for business startups. And it's a partnership with Tinkermill to create businesses in the community. And in fact, when you donate to the Longmont Entrepreneurial Network or Longmont Entrepreneurial Fund, those funds will be pooled with others that want to create jobs and opportunity for people. You realize the tax deduction, grants will be made to Tinkermill, where there will be, well, they will actually look at the startup businesses because that's what they do. They work with startup businesses, those that want to start a business and get it out there, and they also make sure that they have a business plan in place, that they've been properly vetted. Those grants that we grant to Tinkermill, they will turn around and grant those and award those to startup businesses that have the promise for success. Now, mind you, not everybody is going to be successful. I mean, it's a very tough business. But the ones that are successful, what's really great about it is that they will return a portion of the proceeds, some of their profit, back to the Longmont Entrepreneurial Fund, and the cycle will continue itself. Continuing to provide funds to Tinkermill, providing more funds to those that want to start up businesses, and we all reap the rewards of that. So the other opportunity here is the Longmont Ignite, which is on the top part of this little flow chart. Longmont Ignite is if you don't necessarily want a larger tax deduction, you can become a member of Longmont Ignite. You put a small sum of money into the Longmont Entrepreneurial Fund, suggested amount is $1,000, and then you get first dibs or first crack at these startup businesses that have been vetted or gone through Tinkermill. So we will have a couple of events per year. It'll be like a Shark Tank, if you will, where those businesses, not kind of in the weird way, but but it'll be those businesses who are ready to make a presentation to potential investors. We'll get in front of them, they will talk about their plans, and then investors can on their own decide whether they want to make the investment and reap a potential profit from those successful businesses. This is a new thing for the Longmont Community Foundation, a new thing entirely in some ways for community foundations as a whole, but it's certainly a way that a lot of community foundations are moving into, is the sense that we can also create employment opportunities too as well. So I'm very excited about this and excited about Fresca, I'm excited about Golden Triangle Construction, and I'm also very interested in continuing what we do. And to that end, focus. The focus still remains on you. Be you donors or be you nonprofit organizations, we still want to focus on you and still provide you the best customer experience. And that probably sounds like a bit of a for-profit value, but I think it probably also transcends to nonprofits too. Be us, if we want to make profit or not, we still want to provide good customer service. So we want to make philanthropy accessible for our donors. We want to make sure that we continue to meet their needs. At the same time, we also want to make sure that we don't hinder what the nonprofits do. We don't want to really go up against you, but we want to help what you do. We don't need to create programs or a lot of overlaid programs, but we want to help you and pay attention to what you do. We want to rethink. We want to use technology more. To this end, we actually came into I actually have in my notes the 21st century, but actually probably should be the 20th century because we finally got a robust database at the Longmont Community Foundation, which is kind of, you're probably chuckling. Yeah, we really didn't have much of a robust database. We used one with the Denver Foundation, but we really didn't have our own. So we are also creating a way for donors to check their own balances, make grants seamlessly online, and then finally we will launch a new online grant and scholarship application system I promise the grant application will be simple and easy to use, easier than the one we've done before. I know some of you have had issues with the one in the past. I assure you that this one seems like it's going to work a lot better. And of course, if it doesn't, who do you call? Me. So talk to me and let me know it doesn't work. And because again, as somebody who's been in this business for 25 years, I can assure you I've written so many grants that some of them seem overburdensome and laden with so many details and information, and that's not at all what we ever want. We want it to be simple and easy to use. So if it's not, I need to hear about it. We will be asking a few of you to test this out and make sure it works for both of us. And then growth without much purpose is not much of a goal. Our goal is to work with our donor partners to grant out $1 million a year, as I already suggested. Not only will our grants help you with your general operating support for the causes you focus on, but they will help alleviate your need to fundraise. I really want you to get more money locally. I don't really want you to feel like you have to go to Denver or other organizations to get additional funding. We want to be the financial resources that you can come to more frequently and for more larger grants. This doesn't happen overnight, but we are moving forward. And here to provide an update from the board perspective is our board chair, Roy White.
Thank you, Eric. And it's not true that there's a minimum height requirement to be on the board. And if there was, we would have grandfathered Eric in. So thank you, Eric. I'm here to provide an update from the board perspective on the Longmont Community Foundation. First of all, I want to thank the Grants Committee for their commitment to the community and the foundation. It takes a lot of work to do that, and when I joined the foundation, I had no idea how the Grants Committee worked. I've learned, and it's been a very rewarding experience to see them work with all of you and to see us help the community nonprofits grow and become more integrate, give you more capacity to do more good things in the community. So I'm fortunate to work with a dedicated and hardworking board of trustees and staff. So before I add on to the news of the foundation, I want to take a few moments to acknowledge them now. First, our board of directors. Many of them are in the audience today, so if you would stand. Carol Croft, Vice President. Dale Bernard, Treasurer. Matt Zavala, Secretary. John Gaddis is our immediate past president. Monica Baldwin, Brad Douglas, Jan Kanemoto, Kristen Koval, Sonia Marrero, Jeff Nading, Sam Knapp, Susan Shirley, and Susan Weiser. We're proud to welcome 3 of these people as new board members this year, so thank you for serving, Monica, Sonia, and Sam. I also want to acknowledge the founders and former members of our board in the audience that have played an integral role in shaping the foundation. I tell people that I get the joy of taking the foundation forward when it's already in such a good place, thanks to the hard work and development of visionary people in Longmont who took it to this stage, and we look forward to doing more in the future. So I'd like to acknowledge Jim and Virginia Holmes, Bob Sarche and Deanne Sarche, Sharon Golden, Fran McCarty, Betty Lou Brock, Carol Miller. If you are here, please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for being with us today and for your generous service to the foundation. The board and I want to acknowledge the staff, and believe me, they work hard and they get a lot done, and without them, it wouldn't be what it is today. So our executive director, you met Eric Ozempa, and the scholarship and donor relations specialist, Marjorie Weibel. Thank you very much. And our newest employee is Virginia Dutkin, and she is on college visits with her oldest and couldn't be here today, but we look forward to her helping us go forward. There were several things that needed to happen to create the Longmont Community Foundation as a standalone foundation. We had to obtain our 501c3 status. The investment committee had to form, and we had to recruit and select a investment advisor. We looked at 19 different investment firms in order to select Colorado State Bank and Trust as our investment management firm. Many subcommittees of the board discussed, drafted, and approved countless policies, and we are the policy mavens now, let me tell you. There was a lot to keep track of related to investments, gifts, employment, everything else involved in running our own foundation. And we completed, as Eric said, a database transition, so we have in-house the ability to keep track of everything we need to and handle it ourselves. We officially separated from the Denver Foundation in September of 2014. On behalf of the board, I want to express my gratitude to you all for your patience during this transition. It took a little work, and you were very understanding while we got all of this sorted out. This new direction aligns with our strategic direction, and we believe offers the best future for the foundation and its donors. We are calling this new chapter for the foundation the New Day Initiative. After successfully completing the Founders Challenge, where we more than doubled our assets, the foundation trustees want to accomplish this new challenge so that we can give out grants of $1 million a year. That's our next target goal. Why? As one of our grants committee members described, we can only fund a portion of the grant requests that we receive each year. We would love to do more for the community, so we're going to raise more money and we're going to do more. The challenge will require us to involve more people in the foundation and require us to involve more of the community. We're going to use technology to achieve this, and as Eric showed, keep our expenses down as we grow. We're excited about the next chapter in our future and about strengthening our ability to grant funds that create a better St. Vrain Valley. Thank you for attending this morning and for all that you do. I'm also privileged to kick off the grantee ceremony with the presentation of 2 awards. The first is an award from the St. Vrain Valley Basic Needs Fund. Not only am I the first time doing this, for many of the people in the audience that know me, this is the first time they've seen me in a tie also, so this is all new. This fund was created by 2 anonymous donors, and its purpose is to help fund organizations that focus on what the name suggests, basic needs. This year, the donors and the Longmont Community Foundation are proud to award a grant of $25,000 from the St. Vrain Valley Basic Needs Fund to the Our Center for their capital campaign. Edwina Salazar, Executive Director of the Our Center, is here to accept this grant and will provide an update on the campaign. Edwina?
I can't be on the board, obviously. This is truly a wonderful surprise for us at the Our Center. The last 2 weeks have just been very exciting for us, and Eric's allowing me to tell you a little, catch you up on our capital campaign. We will be able to start construction in the next 3 months. Yeah, that's great. I have 2 new best friends, the project managers at Sun Construction. This will take us a long way and really help us with our drive and our motivation to keep this campaign going in a very rapid motion. We are transforming to a family resource center, and the children you saw in that picture will certainly benefit from the new building. We will be providing wraparound services to families and individuals, and hopefully we will be able to touch the lives of more children than we do at this point, because we'll be able to bring in additional partners. We will have parenting support, legal support, and this is all due to the generosity of the Longmont community. We still need donations, so we won't rest on our laurels today, but we really appreciate this. And there's some angels in this room. Whoever thought of this is going to be certainly highly regarded at the Our Center and in the community, because this really is going to get us another giant step further in our campaign. Thank you so much for the opportunity also to talk to you a little bit this morning. But I also have a donation for Eric. Eric, we have an extra tape dispenser at the Our Center, and we'll bring it over this afternoon.
Let's continue with one more special award, the Your Story Award. This award is provided to the nonprofit that submits a photo and short story of only 500 characters. The applications are judged by a volunteer panel, and the winner receives exposure on the foundation's Facebook page, website, and Twitter account, as well as a $350 grant. This year's Your Story winner is Via Mobility, and here's their story. Because Via goes, Steve works and is happy. On July 19, 1977, Steve D. was a healthy 16-year-old. 16 hours later, a buildup of spinal fluid crushed his optic nerve. Now 53 years old, Steve is legally blind. Today, Steve is the first voice a customer hears at a locally owned heating and air conditioning company in Longmont. Via is Steve's key to maintaining employment by providing on-demand, door-to-door transportation. Via supports Steve so that he can fully participate in work and in life. Accepting the award for Via Mobility is Carolyn Jansen. I have to say, one of the things that we get to do as board members that is one of the more special things to me is when we have our monthly board meetings, we have them at some of the nonprofits that are funded. And so in this last year, we had meetings both at Via Mobility and Our Center, and it's fascinating to see what they do for the community. They are the boots on the ground, the people that do the hard work, and I appreciate it. And I've learned a lot especially about Via, and what they did is fascinating. So it's a special time for me, and thank you. So now, here's Eric, who will get the rest of the grant started.
All right, so I just want to take a little bit of time, just a couple seconds, to let you know what happens. Today we distribute funds from unrestricted funds, donor-advised, designated field of interest funds. Many of these grants are made possible by the generosity of our fund holders, and in fact, I have so many I've got to do 2 slides, so bear with me as I read some names here. Anonymous, we have anonymous donors that obviously don't want to let you know who they are. The Bernard Family Fund, the Ed and Connie Lehman Community Cares Fund, the Ed and Jan Kanemoto Family Fund, George and Jane Kanemoto Family Fund, Home and Wolf Family Fund, Ken and Kathy Winter Family Fund, Ken and Kathy Winter Field of Interest Fund, Kraft Family Fund, McCarty Charitable Fund, Nading Family Fund, Norris Family Fund, Paskoff Family Fund, Stephen Holmes Family Fund, the Table One Fund, the Avery and Mildred Caldwell Fund, the Chapman Family Fund, the Charles and Carol Miller Family Fund, the Delbert and Dorothy Reddington Family Fund, the Golden Fund, the Howard and Mary Allen Fund, the Lehman Fund, the Longmont Community Fund, the Raymond and Mildred Sarche Family Fund, the St. Vrain Conservation Fund, Thomas P. and Betty Lou Brock Fund, the Triton Fund, the Tyson Sajud Family Fund, and the Weiser Family Fund. So thank them all for their participation in the grants celebration. All right, so this is where it gets quick. So we'll announce your organization's name and the purpose and the grant and the total of the grants made, and we will provide you an envelope with a grant check, or in some circumstances, actually everybody's going to have a grant check and a letter. We ask that an agency representative meet one of our check handlers, if you will, in between, so we can keep the presentation flowing. And I promise this portion goes by really quick. So I need Carol Croft, Roy White, Jan Kanemoto, and Matt Zavala to report for duty. And then I also need Mika Delgado and Mary Blue here to help with the presentation.
Good morning. I'm Mika Delgado, and I have the privilege today of presenting the Arts and Culture category this morning. We're going to ask that you hold your applause till we announce all of the awards, and then we'll celebrate at the end of each section. So first off, Arts Longmont received $1,750 for general operating support that helps Arts Longmont ability to provide support and promote local artists and arts organizations. Colorado Bach Ensemble, $2,000 for general operating support. The Firehouse Arts Center, $1,500 to continue to develop community-oriented programs focused on being a resource for residents and a destination for visitors. Longmont Chorale, $1,000 in general operating support for performances, artistic staff and guest artists, rehearsal and performance venues, and program production. Longmont Concert Band, $1,500 to help with essential operating expenses, including rental costs for rehearsal space at Altona Middle School and Silver Creek High School Auditorium. Longmont Jazz Association, $750 in support for the Jazz Association and their jazz program in the summer. Longmont Museum, $2,250 for the museum to begin the process of preserving the largest archival collection in the museum's history, an unparalleled collection of photographs and newspaper clippings assembled over more than 100 years by the Times Call. Longmont Symphony Orchestra, $1,300 for general operating support to continue providing quality musical experiences and outreach programs to audiences and residents throughout Boulder County. Longmont Theater Company, $1,783 and general support and for support of the arts efforts to light their outside marquee in the St. Vrain Historical Society. Oh, and $3,500 for general operating support related to preserving the history of Longmont and the St. Vrain Valley. WOW's Children Museum, $1,500 for general operating costs associated with providing cultural experiences to the St. Vrain Valley. Let's go ahead and appreciate our nonprofits.
Where do I start? Yeah, you're going to run it, okay. This is the civic category. Boulder County Fair, $1,500 to establish an agricultural education area for kids called the Kids Corral. Calwood, $2,000 to bring 100 or more students from Longmont to Calwood's science-based environmental education program in 2015. Colorado Horse Rescue, $2,000 to support the Horse Care Fund, hay and feed, medicine, and vet expenses. EcoCycle, $1,500 in support of EcoCycle's Green Star Schools program in the St. Vrain Valley school system. Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, $2,500 in support for operational costs such as specialized foods and medical supplies. Growing Gardens, $500 in support of opportunities for children, youth, adults, seniors, and people with disabilities to have access to fresh vegetables, nutrition education, job training, and physical and social activity through gardening. Honor Flight, $1,500, support of World War II veterans from the St. Vrain region to travel to Washington, D.C. and visit the World War II Memorial. Longmont Buddhist Temple, $2,000 for general support. Longmont Friends of Feral and Abandoned Cats, $1,500 in support for vet care, cat food, and cat shelters and other medical care as needed. Longmont Humane Society, $3,000 in general operating support to assist with the sheltering of homeless animals at the Humane Society. Longmont Sister Cities, $250 in general expenses related to chaperone travel expenses, insurance, and transportation of students to sister cities. Thorn Nature Experience, $4,500 to support 3 in-school environmental education programs to 1,922 students in the St. Vrain Valley School District. Please help me congratulate all of the civic grantees. And now here's Dale Bernard, who will present the education grants.
Thank you, Mary. The first grant goes to Born to Read, $3,050 to provide books for newborns at the Longmont United Hospital. Bright Eyes, $2,750 to support the Mayor's Book Club. Casa de la Esperanza, $500 to support their after-school and summer education programming. Crossroads School, $4,000 to support students who have experienced academic or behavioral struggles in traditional schools. Earth Explorers, $2,000 to support science programming for students in the St. Vrain Valley. Education Foundation of the St. Vrain Valley, $6,957 in support of the STEM Discovery Program, which focuses on hands-on, inquiry-based STEM programming and professional development. Front Range Community College Foundation, $8,500 to help support scholarships for Longmont students who are pursuing a degree or certificate in a technical field. I Have a Dream Foundation, $2,750 to support positive future programming for Longmont Dreamer classes, which serve a total of 102 Longmont youth and over 200 Dreamer family members. Junior Achievement, $5,000 for the support of business skills programs in the St. Vrain Valley schools. Seeds of Hope Charitable Trust, $5,000 to support tuition assistance at St. John the Baptist Catholic School in Longmont, and $5,000 to support scholarships at Our Lady of the Assumption Catholic School. Silver Creek High School, $1,200 for support of the Day of Champions, a school-based activity which brings students with and without intellectual disabilities together through sports and activities. The St. Vrain Community Montessori School, $1,500 to help the school fund a sustainable music program for the middle school students in the 7th and 8th grade. TLC, $12,600 in support of early childhood education programs. So please join me in congratulating all these recipients. And now here's Susan Shirley, who will present this year's Health Award.
Thank you. Bonfils Blood Center Foundation, $500 to support blood drives in Longmont and in the St. Valley area. Boulder County AIDS Project, $750 in support of BCAP's Longmont services, and these include HIV testing and counseling, outreach and education, and case management services. Boulder Valley Women's Health, $2,000 to support subsidized health care services to Longmont patients who experience economic, language, cultural, and other barriers to accessing health care. Dental aid, $1,750 to support the Longmont Clinic, allowing dental aid to help low-income and uninsured Longmont residents eliminate oral disease and infection. Longmont United Hospital, $750 for general operating support. Planned Parenthood, of the Rocky Mountains, $1,000 for the Family Planning for Teens and Adults program. This program provides the Well Woman's exams, screenings, and education to the community. St. Benedict's Healthcare and Healing Ministries, $1,000 for funding healthcare clinics at the Our Center and other St. Vrain Valley locations. True Community Care, $750 for support of the Patient Care Fund that helps cover the cost of physical, emotional, and spiritual care for the underinsured in the St. Vrain Valley. So help me congratulate this year's health grant recipients. Here's Linda Bittner and Jake Van Kessel to present the Human Service Organizations.
First up is A Precious Child, $3,000 to help children and families in the St. Vrain Valley with basic necessities. A Woman's Work, $500 in general operating support. Agape Family Services, $500 to support the sheltering of homeless individuals in Longmont. Alternatives for Youth, $8,100 for general operating support and for the I Thrive early intervention program for teens 12 to 17 who have started down the road of alcohol and drug abuse. Association for Community Living, $500 in support to supply families with the tools they need to advocate effectively for themselves through a person-centered approach. Attention Homes, $3,000 to support services to youth in crisis in the St. Vrain Valley. Audio Information Network, $1,000 to support AIN's radio reading programs for the blind and visually impaired in the St. Vrain Valley. Blue Sky Bridge, $4,500 of general operating support that helps eliminate the trauma that children may suffer during a child abuse investigation. Boulder County Care Connect, $1,000 to support programs that support independence for elderly in the St. Vrain Valley. Boulder Emergency Squad, $1,250 towards the purchase of an infrared camera, which is used for spotting wildfires and assessing structure fires. Boulder Meals on Wheels, $750 in general operating support. Boulder Shelter for the Homeless, $2,000 to support general operating expenses, including those key programs which serve approximately 150 Longmont clients annually. Carson J. Spencer Foundation, $1,000 to help bring the Fire Within program for youth entrepreneurs preventing suicide to one class in the St. Vrain Valley for one academic year. Center for People with Disabilities, $2,250 for the Longmont facility that serves people with disabilities throughout the greater Longmont area. Children First of the Rockies, $1,500 in support for the Parent Education and Safe Services program. Colorado Friendship, $1,500 to support the Backpack Food program that provides healthy food for the weekend for St. Vrain students and their siblings at Rocky Mountain Elementary and Northridge Elementary Schools. Community Action Development Corporation for the Circles program, $500 to support the Circles campaign, an effort to help people become self-sufficient. Community Food Share, $3,000 for general operating expenses in support of food procurement and distribution. Ed and Ruth Lehman YMCA, $4,850 to help disadvantaged families and children access programs at the Y. El Comité, $500 for general operating support for El Comité's mission of helping disadvantaged families in the St. Vrain Valley. Emergency Family Assistance Association, $1,782 for support of the Atwood Shelter in Longmont. And Habitat for Humanity of the St. Vrain Valley, $4,000 to support Phase 2 construction of the Poplar Grove Development Project and a home for 7 families. Continuing the presentation for Human Services Award is Jake Van Kessel.
Thank you, Linda. Hope, Homeless Outreach Providing Encouragement, $2,590 for support of Hope's Nighttime Street Outreach Program for homeless individuals. Imagine, $1,500 for general support of Imagine services to Longmont individuals with developmental delays or disabilities. Approximately 1,200 of Longmont's most vulnerable residents and their families will experience significant benefits as a result of Imagine's services. The Immigrant Legal Center, $2,300 to help provide low-cost legal service to immigrants residing in Longmont and the St. Vrain Valley. The In-Between, $2,500 of general operating support to provide services to the most vulnerable, homeless families and individuals who suffer most in our community and lack access to resources. Intercambio de Comunidades, $2,000 of operating support in the Longmont office, to continue to meet the growing demand by Longmont area immigrant adults for education opportunities in English language and life skills and cross-cultural integration skills. Longmont Emergency Unit, $3,000 for the replacement of worn-out equipment that was lost in the 2013 Boulder County flood. Longmont Ending Violence Initiative, $1,250 in support for Levi's prevention, education, public information, and service gaps, goals towards ending child sexual assault in our community. Longmont Meals on Wheels, $4,750 in general operating support for Meals on Wheels services to the elderly. Lions Emergency Assistance Fund, $1,050 in support of a case manager that comes to Lions once a week and works directly with vulnerable individuals and families. Mental Health Partners, $1,000 to support programs in Longmont. Mountain States Children's Home, $5,750 in general operating support that enables at-risk children to have a second chance. The Our Center, $6,000 for support of the Our Center's Basic Needs Program. The Pearl Group, $500 in support of the Pearl Group's programs that enable single parents to become self-sufficient. Safe Shelter of the St. Vrain Valley, $2,250 to provide programs which comprise an integrated, comprehensive system of in-house and outreach programs and services necessary to address the emotional healing, safety, basic needs, and self-sufficiency of all individuals affected by domestic violence. Second Wind of Boulder County, $5,500 for support of counseling programs for St. Vrain Valley teens at risk for suicide. Sunshine Club, $1,500 for general operating support. Veterans Helping Veterans Now, $1,500 for our veteran and family members' mental health and wellness program that lead to our long-term objective of creating self-sufficiency in veterans. VIA, $2,000 to support transportation and mobility services for Longmont residents. Voices for Children, $3,250 to provide court-appointed special advocate services to abused and neglected children in Longmont. Please join me in congratulating the Human Services Guarantee. And now, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Eric Hozempa.
Okay, so let's see, I have about 40 more minutes, so I'd like to go on about my kids' lives. No, this is it. You're done. Go home. Thank you so much for everything you do, and have a great day.